Happy Friday, everybody. This is Sarah Jacobs, coming to you live from PhotoShelter headquarters here in New York City. I'm here with our CEO, Andrew Fingerman. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sarah. It's my second time coming back, so it must mean you liked me the first time, or at least Alan did. I'm happy to be your co-pilot this time around.
Good. Yes, Alan approved. Alan is actually out on vacation right now. He's in France? Is that right?
Somewhere between London and France. London and Paris at the moment.
Somewhere between London and France. That's true. He did a happy hour for us in London and met a bunch of photographers last night. And via Twitter, it sounds like it went pretty well.
Yeah.
So that's good.
We sent him to all the glamorous places.
Yeah, we do. I know. Oh, man. Well, this is the April 18th edition of I Love Photography. And for those who are watching on video, just so you know, this is also available via a podcast on iTunes. Just search I Love Photography. And for those of you that are listening via podcast, just know that this is also broadcast live via YouTube every Friday at noon. We're also on Twitter, so tweet at us, I Love Photo, to tweet any of your opinions or anything you want us to talk about, and we'll be watching that. But let's dive right in with this week's news. We'll start with the Pulitzer Prize winners in the photography categories, which was the New York Times.
Yeah, definitely excited to see the New York Times bring home two Pulitzers in this case. It was breaking news for Tyler Hicks and feature photo for Josh Hainer.
Yes. Yes, so happy that staff photographers got awarded these prizes, because it brings out the importance of having staff photographers. I mean, you don't see the Chicago Sun getting these awards.
Right, yeah.
They now don't have any staff photographers.
Yeah.
So that's not great. But yeah, I think the Hicks images, I don't know if you looked through these, Andrew, but the Hicks images of the Nairobi Mall terrorist attacks were just terrifying.
Yeah, I actually, I mean, they were upfront, in-your-face terrifying, and the access that he had was incredible. I had a really awesome opportunity, Sarah, to attend the National Geographic photo seminar this year, and Tyler was one of the speakers, and he talked about this moment. And even just in hearing his retelling of it, it was as gripping as the photos, as he was kind of going through the photos. And one of the things that struck me is at the very beginning of the story, it tells you a lot about his character. He was just like, he wasn't assigned to cover this event at all. This is in his hometown. This is where he lives, and he was just kind of out and about doing something normal that he does, through the day, and he saw that something was going on at the mall, and he was on the phone with his wife, and he said, something's going on at the mall, I'm going in. And
Wow.
Any one of us, like, I know at least myself, like, something's going on at the mall, and it looks violent, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yes.
So it speaks to his character and the things that conflict photographers, but also just breaking news photographers need to do to capture a moment like this. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, they're totally in a different headspace than I think the rest of of the world. I mean, Tyler gave an interview with James Estrin on the New York Lens blog later that day, just after the events. So he didn't even. He probably didn't even have that much time to process what he had seen or looked through his photos, but got on the phone with James and gave an interview that day, which I think just shows, that they're just in a completely different state of mind. It's really incredible. I also think the Josh Hainer look at the man whose legs got blown off in the Boston bombings. I think this story is super important, to show that healing process. I know a lot of Bostonians, they've come up with this Boston Strong tagline, and some people in Boston, I think, are a little like, but have we healed? Are we stronger? They've questioned it, and I think awarding a story that shows the healing process is a clear sign that, you know, journalists are watching, and they're documenting that Boston is stronger and that they're going to heal. And so I think that it's really great that that story won.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you could probably click through some of the images in one of those first few paragraphs. There's a link to the actual story, and it's a really big, nice slideshow. And I think, you know, actually I had the opportunity to meet Josh earlier this year too, ahead of the Olympics, and they did the New York Times did just amazing coverage at the Winter Olympics too, and he was involved with that. So I'm kind of enamored by Josh's work. The thing with the Boston story, and you know, I didn't pick up on that, and I think you're totally right about you know, it's not just this one individual's healing process, but it's kind of a proxy for the town itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so unbelievably, the access that he had was so unbelievably personal.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw, you know, moments of happiness that, you know, the victim was able to kind of regain these moments of happiness and spending time with his family, and, you know, having a catch outside, despite having this life-altering moment, and then at the same time some moments of absolute despair where, you know, the day-to-day rehabilitation is just so difficult and traumatic, and it makes you just, you know, the photos are so empathic.
Mm-hmm.
That is really just very powerful work. So I'm really glad that Josh was recognized for this.
Yeah, I know in the interview with Lenz, he definitely talks about those moments when he decided not to click the camera, and just how important it is to, you know, be thoughtful like that when you're documenting someone's long-term healing process like this. So that was just a great coverage. Also, along the same lines of the Boston bombings, you pulled up Photo Brigade's podcast with Gregory Hessler, who just went and shot Bostonians at the finish line.
Yeah, this was really special. So this was for this cover of Sports Illustrated, and if you haven't seen it yet, you absolutely should. It's this is actually a celebration. This photo, it's you know, a celebration of Boston Strong. They've how the town itself has come together and recovered a year later at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. You know, the moment, the place where this tragic moment occurred, and Gregory and Brad Smith worked together. Brad's the director of photography at Sports Illustrated, to assemble, I think it's over 3,000 Bostonians for this amazing photo.
Wow.
And,
wow.
And in the podcast with Robert Kaplan, which you can get at photobrigade.com, or you can actually, those podcasts are available on iTunes as well, and it's just a phenomenal resource, but I'll talk about that later. But Gregory talks about not just this, but a lot of very inspiring career-related stuff. Gregory, for those of you that don't know him, and I see Sarah is pulling his book up, you should absolutely get this book. Gregory is one of the iconic portrait photographers of our time, and it's just an absolute gift to hear him speak. But actually on the Sports Illustrated website, they have a video of the behind-the-scenes shooting of this group portrait, and it's really well worth watching. And there's so much positivity in this moment, and you see Gregory with his megaphone getting everybody ready for the shot. And it's just something to really enjoy, and just in terms of how they brought this energy together to celebrate a year after something very tragic happened, and it wasn't this solemn, silent moment, but it was actually a celebration. And and then the other cool thing is, I think somewhere else on the SI site there's a Gigapan tool where you can actually drill into the tiniest little face.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yep. Wow, you can find yourself.
Yeah. And
wow.
It's a little bit of a fun little gadget to play with. So.
Oh, that's fun.
I really like how they tied together a lot of different media on this. They have the behind-the-scenes video. They have the Gigapan.
Yeah.
Obviously the cover, and then to kind of take things full circle. The first time I learned about this shoot was via Instagram when they were setting it up, because Brad and Robert Kaplan were both Instagramming the setup of it, and so so it was nice. It was really nice to have that like story behind the story.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's good. Yeah, they made the process very inclusive. Obviously, they wanted Bostonians, to come out and show face. And I'm so glad that they didn't, they didn't move the finish line to a different location. It's in the same spot on Boylston. So that's all good. Go Boston.
I will say go Boston, even though I'm a Yankees and Giants.
Okay.
Every once in a while, it's okay to say go Boston.
Yeah, in this moment, it is. Up next, we've got Benjamin Lowy, who, if you don't follow this photojournalist on Instagram, then you're not doing Instagram right, basically. He does amazing iPhone photography and posts it all on his account. And he's the one who shot Time Magazine's first ever iPhone Instagram cover of Hurricane Sandy. And, that was back in 2012. I feel like time has moved by so fast, but that was almost 2 years ago now. So when Benjamin, says, I'm getting kind of bored of Instagram, it sort of makes sense. He sort of won Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's at the same time, it's a little sad to hear, because this stuff shouldn't be moving. That trends like this shouldn't be moving this quickly.
Uh-huh.
And I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling a little, and from a different perspective. I'm an Instagram consumer,
Mm-hmm.
And I share, but you're going to see my photos of my barbecue and my children. But even whereas I was so drawn to it that every kind of down moment when I was riding the train or waiting online at the grocery store or whatever, I was just seeing what the latest update was. How can I take in the world through the eyes of everybody else that I'm following? And it is getting a little old. I can't explain why. It's getting a little bored.
It is. It's getting a little tired. Yeah. And Ben definitely agrees. I think it's important for photographers to, listen to the masters like this. This is a clear sign that something else is going to come. And I don't know if it's going to be Instagram making technology changes within their own app or another app altogether. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see the engagement statistics to say if we're photo people, right? So there's people that I know that haven't even found their way to Instagram yet.
Oh wow!
They're joining now, right? They're and they're like dads and moms and friends of mine in other circles, and so they're just finding their way there, and so maybe as it's continually going mainstream, it's things are diluting a little bit, but I don't know if overall engagement is dropping off. I still think it's a great vehicle to engage and build audience and get found by people and get your photography across other people's eyes. But
yeah,
maybe there will be another platform. I think Instagram is being used for so many different things right now. Personal photo sharing, platform for news sharing.
Right.
And as Ben says, what's the next thing that's going to break down one more gate and engage people?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be something else. It will.
It will. Well, he jokes in this interview with Filter that he might just start going under a different name and posting photos of his brunch.
Yeah.
So.
I think his point was that you become a slave to this number of followers.
Mm-hmm.
There was this great land grab to build followers, and the photographers who have extreme followership are truly benefiting from it in ways that gets them hired, right? So the team that got hired to do the elections, and the team that got hired to Instagram behind the scenes at the Super Bowl and whatnot. Or Fashion Week, but that kind of building lots of followers while you can monetize that and turn that into work. It's also the same thing that happened with blogs, really, where suddenly you think you have to sort of perform for this audience of yours, and there's an expectation that you have to meet. and
Right.
suddenly you can't have as much fun with it as you might have once had, and
Right.
that's sad. Sometimes you just want to share that photo of the great chicken dish you made.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope Ben does not get off Instagram or doesn't start going under a different name. Ben, you take too great of photos. Don't leave us hanging.
Agreed.
Agreed. So, Andrew, did you stay up for the blood moon this week?
um, I think I did, but I think I was also finishing my taxes, so
Oh gosh.
a much more traumatic or once in a lifetime type. Yeah, I actually didn't see it with my own eyes, but
Okay.
I saw it on Instagram. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. No, me too. I definitely didn't stay up for it, but luckily some good photographers did, including a Texan photographer, Mike Missoule, whose image actually popped up on my Instagram feed that next morning through I Love Texas Photos Instagram.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's a beautiful time lapse of the moon during the stages of the night over this landscape of bluebonnets. So immediately I was like, oh, that's somewhere near Texas. It's right outside of Dallas and Ennis. And here on Petapixel, he talks about how he got this shot, which he was out there for 7 hours, which is just insane, using his Nikon D800. And he used a 24 millimeter lens to get the landscape. And then to capture the moon transitions, he used a 200 millimeter lens. And he took a picture every 10 minutes and then compiled this beautiful time-lapse photo. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, it's funny, the track of the moon, it reminds me of those, they're kind of kitschy, but those motocross photos where they'll do the same exact thing where you see it's a composite of the jumping motorcyclist.
Yes, yes, yes.
They're like the ski jumper.
Right, making that jump and then making the land perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, good job, Mike. We liked it. We
Yeah,
thought it was pretty.
Blood Moon was cool.
Blood Moon was very, very cool. Alex McLand's shots of land from above. So these images by Alex are just aerial shots. They're very simple aerial shots that just show the crazy patterns of civilization, basically. They result in kind of this layered, textured patterns. And I saw the images, and I was like, well, how is this guy getting these aerial shots? Is he like hiring a person to take him up in a helicopter? But it turns out that this photographer is also a pilot, not for commercial flights or anything, but talk about multitasking. I mean, he's flying the plane and leaning over through the window to take these pictures, and he's been doing it since he got his license in the 70s, so he's been doing it for a while and has compiled a great collection of these aerial images of, both people and homes and
I think
wildlife.
the coolest thing that I'm kind of a sucker for pattern like this.
Really?
It's like I guess pattern, but also like the symmetry and the way that things that create kind of these spaces kind of relate to each other that you wouldn't necessarily catch, like a neighborhood, right?
Right.
Like these neighborhoods from above where you're like, whoa, everything is so well organized. And for some reason, this was evocative for me of back when I was at American Express. We were in one of the World Financial Center towers that overlooked the rebuilding at Ground Zero, the September 11th site. And now in New York, it's kind of like we take it for granted. We see the One World Trade Center. I think that's what they're calling it now.
Yeah, One World. Mm-hmm.
Tower. And but back when it was kind of the ongoing excavation and then the foundation building phase, there were literally and you could be up on the 30th floor of my building looking down into what was going on there. And there were all these things happening at once. And teams upon teams upon teams of construction workers all doing their little piece of the project. And this monumental project somebody knows how all those little pieces come together, and you only really get an appreciation for like almost the choreography of this thing. Looking up from down below, looking down from high up above.
Yeah.
This is kind of, it just reminded me of that too, where it's like, someone somewhere, a planner or an architect or, somebody that's good at spatial relations, because I'm not, knew exactly what they were doing when they put this neighborhood together or the solar panel site, and you can really appreciate that from photos like this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gotten a ton. I mean, and it's wonderful. And if you're into landscape, aerial photography, definitely follow Alex on Instagram. He's at Landslides, which, Alex, I hope that's a Fleetwood Mac reference, because that would be great. Okay, now entering the drone/quadcopter section of the show, because if we don't bring up drone quadcopters, it's weird. We always have to bring it up every week. This week we found a great video taken by Randy Scott Slavin of New York City. He's flying through New York City with a quadcopter. It looks like summertime. The trees are all green. It's just gorgeous. I mean, I've never seen New York City like this. And he put it into a 2-minute video, compiled the footage, edited it down, and he put this sort of like cheesy music over it, but someone in the comments put the Spider-Man themed music below, and if you listen to the Spider-Man theme music,
that's so cool. I totally missed that.
Oh, it's incredible. Play it over his drone footage, and it's just like you feel like you are Spider-Man. It's pretty funny. So put on your headphones, put that on full screen, watch the Randy Scott Slavin, and it's just the best. We, of course, also have another drone topic, which is drone selfies. The Photo Jojo, one of my favorite photo blogs, the founder, Amit Gupta, he has been flying around his little quadcopter, and he'll fly it straight into very close to his face, right, and then make it zoom out, which are just these very kind of fun, quirky ways of doing a selfie. And I think it's kind of funny because, selfie, it's very like, look at me, me, me. But these selfies, when you come from your face and then zoom all the way out, you kind of realize how small you are in this tiny little world.
Yeah.
Of all the selfies being taken.
It's funny. This one I can appreciate, and because it really is like, okay, I'm doing something like innovative. It's a little cute. Taking advantage of the drone kind of medium to take a selfie. You and I have talked before about kind of like, and I guess this relates to the Instagram thing too. Like, I'm getting a little tired of the whole selfie thing, and maybe the selfie itself has kind of jumped the shark a little bit.
Yeah, right.
In that, like, when I get out of the subway station, and the newspaper I pick up is wrapped in a advertisement from, I forget who it was, like J.C. Penney, talking about their selfie contest, and then Canon is doing a selfie contest with a point-and-shoot camera that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yes, I saw that.
And once it's kind of like gone like super mainstream, and every corporation in America is trying to get in on the selfie thing. It's like, I'm getting all tired of this. But but this one in particular, it was kind of like, okay, you're having some fun, and it's cool, and you're using cool technology to do it.
Right. Yeah. No.
I'm okay with that. They get a thumbs up.
They do. Yeah. Go, Amit. That is just amazing. Look, it just zooms way out. It's the best. Oh, so okay. This next piece by Adam Magyar is super slow-mo video. So he takes this video of commuters and slows it down 56 times slower than reality. So, and it's a 10-minute long video of these people going down stairs in a subway station. And it's slowed down so much that it's not even, it's past the point of dramatic, because a lot of cinematographers, they'll use the slow-mo as kind of this, they want to create this sense of drama. But this is slowed down so much that it's like they're barely moving, and it creates this kind of, I don't even know, it's just...
With the black and white, they look very ghost-like, and they're like floating. People are floating. It's not like a natural walking.
Yes, that's true, because you can't tell that they're stepping down. It's just like they're moving all together in a very like strange motion. It becomes entrancing watching it.
Yeah, and I think you really get the benefit when you look at the video, and it's probably not. I don't know if we're able to play it on here.
No, we can play a little bit of it.
And you imagine yourself standing in that room. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'd love to go see this. It's not playing now, but check that out on Fast Co-Design. Oof, okay, and then insane crappy things that weather does to your umbrella. Andrew, I don't know if you got caught in the random snowstorm we had this week.
In the morning, my car was covered in it, but
oh man!
After enjoying a barbecue and 70-degree weather and shorts on Sunday, it was not.
No, it wasn't a happy day. We had a lot of snow, not a lot, but a strange snowstorm this week in New York, which I got caught in. I had a crappy umbrella. It blew, it turned inside out. And, you realize, I was like, why is this so, like, oddly embarrassing and strange when it's happening to you on the street? And it's almost like your umbrella represents you, and it's like it can't take the weather, and so you're annoyed and you can't take the weather, and it becomes like a part of you reacting to this terrible weather, and it's just kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, and you kind of have to laugh at yourself a little bit, but it's like, okay, the day is just going in a bad direction from here.
Right, exactly. Well, photographer Drew Anthony Smith has always been intrigued by how many umbrellas are thrown away in New York City, because, we have these really cheap umbrellas, like $3 umbrellas that they sell on the street that you buy because you got to walk to the station and, you weren't expecting rain that day. So he did these great in-studio still life shots of just these mangled umbrellas. They just look like they've gone through hell and back.
Yeah, and I know people are probably thinking right now, the moral of the story is don't buy cheap umbrellas, but this happens with good umbrellas too. I've lost so many good umbrellas to the wire poking through in a rainstorm. And
oh man, I know. It's like you start to wonder money-wise which is more worth it.
Yeah, you can't beat a nice strong gust of wind.
No, you can't. You really can't. The umbrella cannot.
I also think, it's probably New Yorkers' umbrellas probably take a beating too, because nobody in New York has any sense of umbrella etiquette whatsoever. When you're walking down the street and somebody is coming at you with their gargantuan golf umbrella, and they don't make an effort to kind of like lift the umbrella just a little so that you can each pass each other cleanly without kind of having this umbrella joust.
Oh man.
All the time, and it's like I feel like sometimes I'm the only person in New York that's getting their umbrella out of the way of everybody.
Take note, New Yorkers, move your umbrellas up. It's annoying. We all want to get by and keep our umbrellas intact.
Bring the umbrella jousting.
Okay, so our very last thing today that we want to talk about, always something funny, and this came out on Lynn's blog. Dina Litowski has been photographing bachelorette parties for the past 3 years, and she has just gotten some gems. I have never been to a bachelorette party. Andrew, I would assume that you also have not.
Once is entertainment, but...
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Totally joking. No, I never get to go to the good bachelorette parties.
Oh man, such a bummer. You need to get an invite to one of those. Yeah, she's just been photographing these, young women partying it up because it's the last night of their freedom, and she's just been getting gems. I mean, these are incredibly funny, but also very thoughtful. You can see that she's, making a lot of thoughtful decisions. She talks a lot about hiding the bride's face in some of them. I mean, the reaction shots to whatever this woman is seeing is just fabulous.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that that's at, what's the place in New York, Lucky Chang's?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Big like bachelorette party restaurant where it's essentially like burlesque shows with cross dressers, and it's a like really popular venue for bachelorette parties.
Oh man.
Also,
Wow.
that I've never had an opportunity to go. Yeah, these are great. I think they're a lot of fun, and yeah, if you look at the the age mix and the mom's reaction in that last one, it was just so much fun.
I know. I know. I don't think I'd invite my mother to my bachelorette party. But yeah, these are thoughtful. I mean, she's exploring, so many different themes, like sexual exploration and also friendship between the women is really interesting to watch, how the women are relating to each other and each reacting differently to whatever's happening is just it's a really great exploration of this strange one night in your life where you get to kind of, let go and be free.
Break all the rules.
Break all the rules, exactly. And it was funny in the interview, Dina says, I'd rather keep my bachelorette party private. The interviewer says, how was yours? And Dina goes, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm sure something crazy happened on your bachelorette night, Dina. That's great. Well, that's all we have for this week. Andrew, thank you so much for joining in.
My pleasure. I'm happy to pitch in anytime. I enjoy it.
Good. Well, we'll be back next week. Tune in Fridays at noon. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.